on when you're out of it.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Kieran Joy from Cheshire Eco Cleans.
Just there.
Based in Northwich, but work all around the Northwest.
Yep.
And specialise in oven cleaning.
Yeah, so our two main specialist areas, we do oven cleaning and we do carpet and upholstery cleaning as well. Those are like the two kind of niche areas, kind of specialist cleaning that we do, but we also do all the kind of regular domestic cleaning. We do a lot of end of tenancies, pre-sale cleans and that type of thing. And then we work a lot in commercial spaces as well, looking after pubs, restaurants, cafes, all sorts of things.
Wow.
Offices.
Yeah.
Bits of everything, really.
Quite a wide range.
It is quite a wide range. Yeah, we do loads of different stuff. But yeah, the main thing that kind of sets us apart a bit is those specialist areas that we work on. So we've got a lot of fancy gear in the oven cleaning and the carpet cleaning side of things.
Yeah.
Loads of training, spent an absolute fortune getting those services off the ground. So those are like the services that we're particularly proud of, and we really focus on them.
Because the oven cleaning, I tried cleaning mine a while back, and it was like get the shell, I don't know, do you call them shells in the oven? Get them out, put them in the sink. They don't really fit, and then I was like, turn it around, and then the whole place is just an absolute mess. So.
It's not an easy one to do yourself, is it?
And it's all in the van, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all in the van. So the van, there's a 100-litre tank attached to the back of my van, or like
small.
And so. Unlike your little kitchen sink, all of the racks will fit in there without any issues. Essentially everything gets taken out of the oven, all the racks and stuff, the fan, the back plate, like anything that will come out of the oven comes out of the oven, and then that all gets dumped in the massive tank in the back of the van. So there's no danger of your sink getting really dirty with all that stuff,
ruining the rest of the kitchen.
So obviously there's bits that need to be cleaned in situ. The doors come off and things, and they all get taken apart. So you can clean in between the panes of glass and things.
Sure.
And everything gets the bits left over are cleaned in situ, and then everything else is cleaned and all gets put to get back together, and it looks nearly as good as new.
I was doing some bit of research for this chat, and I went into a really dark kind of tunnel in Instagram of carpet cleaning or rug cleaning.
Rug cleaning does
well on socials. It's very satisfying to watch. It's it must be good to do as well.
Yeah, it really is. When I first got into it, I kind of started doing the carpet cleaning because I had to, really, for the business to justify my existence and things. So when I first joined up as part of the business, and it was more of a practical, like, this is something we need to do type of thing. And then when I started doing the training, I remember calling my wife after the first day of training that I did, saying, I actually really like this. And it really hits a nerdy part of my brain where you learn all about, like, I'm a big old nerd at heart, and you learn all about like carpet constructions and different ways the carpet's made, different types of materials that are used, and the different ways they respond to cleaning. It gets like very in-depth and nerdy and stuff, and that's something that really kind of works well with my brain. And I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and so I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
I didn't realise there's so much that when
it's really full on, I was exactly the same. Even obviously did a bit of research before I showed up for the training. But even then, like when I got there, it was like the amount of detail they go into and the amount of stuff you have to know. You come away with this massive book of stuff to study and things. And then there's a big old exam at the end, and you have to learn all of this.
The Bible of carpet cleaning.
There's more to it than you think. So it's an and then there's a whole new set of stuff to learn for sofas and upholstery and things.
Wow,
which is obviously that's a separate bit of training that to do as well. So it's pretty full on. There's a lot involved.
It also brings back a bit of triggers a memory of me more or less volleying a wine glass.
Right.
Forgetting I put it down on this cream carpet, brand new cream carpet, and then kind of hurriedly walking towards the kitchen, and it was like Johnny Wilkinson, but with red wine, and it just went everywhere. And I can still see it now, just slowly expanding over the whole carpet.
Watch this stuff in slow motion, don't you? Depressing for you, but it keeps people like me in business, so it's all good. It's
carpets cost a lot of money, don't they?
Yeah.
Especially there's a lot of cream ones around these days. That was the fashion at the time. instantly regretted it, and wish I'd known you 10 years ago, really.
But yeah, like you say, like especially if you want to get decent quality carpet, it's not cheap stuff to buy.
No.
And like you spend all that money, you don't want to. If you spill something on it, you don't want to replace it because it costs a fortune. You don't want to live with a stain there because you'll notice it and it'll bug you every day.
You don't want to cut a hole in it.
No, it's probably that's not the kind of standard approach to these things. But I mean, whatever works for you, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's kind of real value there, and where people are spending a lot of money on making the house looking nice and stuff, want to look after it, and like however careful you are, accidents do happen, and so yeah, that's what I'm there for.
Amazing. So, what did you do before? Have you always been
It's
on this business?
No, very much no. It's been a bit of a winding road career-wise.
Yeah.
So I trained as a musician, did a degree, did a music college degree, studied in Manchester, and then also studied for a couple of years in the States as well.
Wow.
Worked for about 10 years or so as a freelance musician, doing a lot of touring work, worked with a lot of kind of major orchestras, doing recitals and things, and all sorts. It was a pretty crazy 10 years or so. And then when I had my first kid, suddenly the touring lifestyle's a little bit less appealing. You want to be around a little bit more, and I was doing a lot of kind of getting in at 3 a.m. and at 6 a.m. the baby's up anyway because she doesn't care that I was out gigging the night before, and you've got to be up parenting, and so it was time to kind of reassess things and make a few changes. So we took a bit of an extreme approach to reassessing, and we kind of up sticks and moved to the Middle East for a few years.
Okay.
And so my wife's a music teacher. I do a lot of teaching, or I used to do a lot of teaching as well. And so we moved out there, got teaching jobs. Then when the second baby showed up, I stopped work. I was like stay-at-home dad for a bit. For about 2 years, but the goal of that was to come out into a different career. I was like, I know when I've done this, I don't want to be a musician anymore. Like I'm sick of the traveling and stuff, around and things. Bit of a long story, but ended up coming into the world of cryptocurrencies. Running a business in a cryptocurrency space. That was my first attempt at running a business. Had an amazing mentor who was teaching me loads of stuff at that time. That was really cool. It's a pretty frantic space. Things happen really quickly. It's swing full on.
Hugely volatile.
It is mega volatile, but like it's a really good, like I learned a lot in that time. And then my wife, we moved back to this country, set up the cleaning business. And so when I sold the cryptocurrency business, we did really well there, managed to sell up, and I was trying to work out what to do next. And she'd made an amazing start with the cleaning business. And I've got no background in cleaning whatsoever. But I kind of saw what she'd done, and I could see a real kind of opportunity to build out something kind of bigger and more substantial. And I felt like I'd learned enough with the first business of kind of general business knowledge and how to put a business together, how to expand and grow, that I could bring those into a completely different space and kind of see what happens. And that's what I'm doing now.
What was your instrument?
Instrument was the trombone. That's what I played. So I did some piano and stuff, did some drums as well, but primarily the trombone.
It's quite rare compared to other, like the trumpet or,
Maybe a bit. So when you get into North of England, there's like a big brass band tradition. So you get a lot of trombone players up around the north, less so down south a bit, I guess.
Right.
But it's the thing that appealed to me about the trombone more generally is just the flexibility, because I like variety in what I do. I've never been the type of person who can just lock into one thing for a long period of time. I mean, as you can tell by the career path I just described. But so I like the variety, and like the cool thing about the trombone is that I'll be playing with a symphony orchestra one night, and then the next night I'll be playing with a jazz band, and then the next night I did a lot with a Bavarian band as well, as it would happen. So like just do like literally all sorts of stuff, and it can fit into all of these spaces. So and that kind of really appealed to me.
Must have been quite cool traveling around playing different venues.
It was incredible. Like seeing I worked on the cruise ships for a bit as well. So I did a world cruise once, so that was pretty cool. Just took 3.5 months to do a full lap of the world. So that was an amazing thing to do. I got to meet some celebrities and stuff, and all sorts of things. Like it's a really cool lifestyle. But for me, at least, it's
restrictive on everything else, though.
Very much so, It's very much a lifestyle. It's not obviously not just a 9 to 5 or anything. It's very much kind of a lifestyle thing. I was on the road a lot, And there's always, because I was freelance all the time, there's always that panic inevitably as a freelancer, like, is the phone going to keep ringing and things? There's a real pressure to say yes to everything you can say yes to.
Yeah.
And so that makes it really hard to find a work-life balance.
Sure.
Which didn't bother me at all. But then as soon as you got a family and things, like, it was more of an issue, obviously. And so yeah, but it was really cool. Like, I've had some really cool experiences, done some amazing stuff. A lot of people when they're younger do a load of travelling and bankrupt themselves, whereas I was getting paid to do all my travelling. So it's a pretty cool setup and thing too. So yeah, like, I had a great time.
It was some cool people.
Meet some amazing people, people I'm still in touch with now and things.
Whereabouts in the Middle East?
Living in Abu Dhabi. We did 4 years there. I think if it wasn't for the kids, I wanted to find them, like, somewhere a bit more settled in a school, then we probably would have just carried on floating around the world. Like, could have moved off anywhere else, stayed in the Middle East a bit longer. It's a really cool lifestyle. I had a lot of fun. But we wanted to find a stability. But bless her, my daughter, she's 8 years old, and she's lived in 7 houses so far. Wow. She's been all over the place. So she just, like, as I say, some cool experiences that a lot of other kids haven't had, but she needs a bit of stability now.
Travelled around and lived in America for a bit, and all that kind of thing. And one of them lives in Australia now. Actually, Sam Penny, who came on the podcast, he's an SEO guy in Australia. He's doing really well for himself, and they're all really rounded people, and they were very young at the time, but it gives you learn skills really young to make friends and to...
I think so, and like
not be scared of
experiences she had around, like, diversity and things. Like, she was learning at school about Chinese New Year, and she had a little Chinese friend and chatting about what they're doing at home and, like, in her class. And then, like, the same thing, like, Diwali came up and she had an Indian kid in her class as well. And so she was chatting to her about it, and she's like, it's really, like, hands-on instead of just, like, learning about this stuff in a book. And like, I love living in Cheshire, it's great, but it's as white as a sheet. And so, like, she got some amazing experiences there, like, on that side of things, like, seeing, like, different ways that the world can work and things, which is really cool. So I think she got both of my kids got loads out of it. Like, it's really cool.
With running a business, I think there's, like, skills from travelling and from being a professional at something, and the work and the practice and the repetition and things like that kind of transfer quite well.
I think, particularly from the music side of things, I think there's so many transferable skills, and I think it's a thing that a lot of musicians don't notice. Like, I've got friends who are in music and, like, they're still there and, like, they might want to shift to something else, but they're like, I don't know how to do anything else. And it's like, you've got so many transferable skills, and sometimes you just need to be, like, not forced, but, like, encouraged out of the space to, like, see the wide world and go, actually there's loads I can do here. I had a friend of mine she was an amazing cellist, worked professionally for a good few years, and she retrained as a lawyer, and I was chatting to her about the training, and she was like, everyone else in the class or in the group, whatever, they know way more about law than her, and she was well behind with them, but she was getting better grades than all of them because she had the ability to stand up and talk about what she knew and, like, get those ideas across, and, like, that's such a transferable skill that no one else had. And she was like, she didn't realise that she was better at that than the average person because she was hanging around a load of other musicians and we could all do it, so you think it's normal, but then you get out into the wide world and realise that ability to kind of take an idea and communicate it and, like, just put it into words and speak is, like, not everyone can do that. And that's just kind of one example. I think there's loads like that where I think the discipline of being able to kind of, if you want to become a musician, you have to lock yourself away in a room and just put in the hours in practice. And it's like, there's no one there telling you to do it. And it's like, are you going to be the person who gets, as a student, who gets out of bed and spends the hours practicing? Or are you going to be drunk and hungover all the time? And it's like, well, it's a healthy mix of both. I wasn't sober for my whole degree, but it's like that kind of discipline. It's like the people who make it as musicians are the people who put in the grind, and they lock themselves away in a room. It's like they put in the hours and they really work hard without having to have someone to tell you to do it, without having to necessarily have a list of jobs. It's like, I need to get this done. It's like, no, I'm just working because I work hard and that's what I do and I'm committed to making this a success. And I think that's, again, like, it's just, there's all these transferable skills. I feel like there's a never-ending list of things that you learn as a musician that are, like, really like really helping me out now in what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'd say I didn't appreciate those when I was actually doing the music thing.
Yeah.
It's when you get out and you kind of...
Because we know each other through a networking group, and I see you stand up each meeting, and
Yeah.
you're funny, and you communicate, you can well and clear, and there's clearly a performance part of that. Which,
Absolutely, yeah. So when I was working with this this Bavarian beer band that I mentioned, right? So one day I was just playing the trombone, as another guy was on a microphone, and one day he wasn't there or whatever.
Yeah.
And so someone was just like, "Well, will you jump on a microphone?" It's like, "You've heard what he says. Can you just jump on a mic and say it?" And like from there, I was like, "Yeah, whatever. We'll give it a go and see what happens." And then from there, like a few months later, I'm on the microphone talking in front of like 3,000 or 4,000 people at a time, and when we're playing these huge like Oktoberfest shows and stuff, and you get like thousands of people, and you stood there and you're holding a microphone and you've got to say something, and it's like you learn a lot, and like so it's just kind of you put through the ring with that type of stuff, and it's like those types of single spin types of moments where it's like you kind of you learn your trade, I guess. You learn those types of skills.
I was forced to do well, I wasn't forced. So I had a summer job from the university, but it was a friend from school whose dad owned a farm. They were diversifying, and they'd set up this amazing maze.
Oh, I love it. Love a maze.
I think it's now called Spooky World in Warrington. They do Halloween stuff and scary nights and things like that. And I was involved in the first summer of it, and they thought I'd be great on the microphone. When you've gone through the maze, you go up on a bridge, and then you have an interview with the guy on the microphone. I can't remember what the role was called, but they'd have flags, team flags, and you'd be talking to them as they go around, and you get them to wave for yes there. And I was thinking, why do you want me for this? Because I felt like I was quite shy. Yeah. And after like the first day, I thought, this is for me. I like this a lot. This is funny. And it's amazing, like if you pushed into something that sometimes you actually go, oh, I really like this.
No, it's absolutely. You just gotta try this stuff, because it's not what you imagine, is it?
No.
Like, because you have this idea of like what it's going to be like to interview someone, whatever it is, like whether you're having a conversation like this or speaking in front of lots of people, whatever it happens to be. I think if you've never done it, you've got this idea of what it's like, and then you start doing it, and it's completely different to what you expect. So you just got to kind of throw yourself in there. Yeah. Like I really value that in like people I work with or whatever, and different people I deal with. It's like if people are willing to just throw themselves into a situation and be like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm going to throw myself in and give it a go and see what happens. Like always admire that in people. Like I think it's a really cool trait in someone.
I think there's a real when you're I as a very young kid, I played the cornet.
Right.
And it was the Wirral Schools Orchestra.
Excellent. Get on the CV. Love it.
I think, when was that? I mean, this is like, I might have been 11 years old. And it was good fun. And I didn't practice enough, but I could play. It's one of those. The guys that were really good practiced all the time, and I quite like just being around it all. But actually the performance side of it, and you've got people around you as well. So it was never a solo thing for me, because I was never good enough. It'd have been a disaster.
Didn't practice enough.
But exactly. With anything, with the piano or whatever. But you go into it, and there's a kind of a nervousness about this could go wrong. Yeah. Or I hope people like it. People pay money to come and watch this. Yeah. And then you do it, and people come up to you, we really enjoyed that, and it seems like they're being genuine at the time, which I was surprised about. But there's a real thing about that repetitive thing where you go, I'm a bit nervous about this, and then this has gone really well, and then someone going, that was really good. And so it's reinforced all the time, isn't it? And there's a bit of confidence that comes from that. With anything.
Yeah, and I did quite a lot of, whilst I was doing my degree, I did a lot of reading around like how to cope with those nerves and things, and how to still kind of deliver a performance and make sure you're kind of playing to like the top of your ability, because like it's a very different experience. Like say if you're sat in a room on your own and no one can hear you, and you play pieces and you sound great, and then suddenly you jump on a stage and there's loads of people sat there watching and paid money for the tickets and stuff. Like, it's a very different feeling. And, like, you need to be able to kind of cope with that. And like, it's not the same. You don't just do exactly what you did in that room by yourself, because you feel completely different. Your body's doing completely different things, and like everything's different. So I always found it really interesting how to prepare for those moments and cope with other things. It's a really fascinating space.
So I'm always fascinated how people's, if you're a sportsman, what kind of behaviours and things do you use that kind of translate well to? And it could be preparation for meeting a new client, or communication with them, because you'll have had to work out, if you've never been to a venue before, what's it like, how big it is, who's come in,
all of that stuff.
You have to get the details in, don't you? And then
I think those communication skills are key as well. Like, I think that's something that we do really well as a business, because my wife's a musician as well. Like, she did a music degree, so like the two of us run a business together. So it's like, it's a business run by musicians, cleaning business run by musicians, and so like. But I think like one of the ways that translates is that I think we're really good on the communication side of things, which is really important. In any business, obviously, that's hugely important. You need to be able to communicate properly with, whether it's your current clients to keep them happy, or potential new clients, or or even like staff and things like that. Like, these communication skills are like really key in any business. And I think that's a real strength of ours, and it's because of that background, of having that experience.
I had a vision in my mind there of you guys going viral on social media, you playing the trombone, like a musical representation of the cleaning that's going on in the background.
It
could be quite good.
Think about that on the social media strategy, how to include a trombone in our cleaning videos.
This is why I don't do social media.
Stick to the SEOs.
But it could be used, couldn't it? Because that kind of musical, the musical cleaners,
no, we could do all of that.
Just need the horn on the van now to represent that. So
announce our presence when we arrive in our van.
But I love that though, kind of how it flows into the work that you do and the way you do it.
I don't actually. I don't play at all anymore. My wife still plays. She's an amazing clarinet player. She still plays a lot around the area. But I kind of just, when I stopped doing it professionally, I took the decision that I think I'd struggle to play and not be as good as I used to be. Because obviously I wouldn't be as good as I used to be now, because I don't put any hours of practice, and it's not my main focus. So I don't play at all. Like, literally, like, I couldn't tell you the last time I played a note on a trombone.
Really?
And I conduct. I still do a bit of conducting. I've just started that this year, actually. I've taken over a brass band, musical director of a local brass band, which is really fun. Like, I really enjoy that. It's something a bit different. As an orchestra, I conduct a little bit sometimes as well. Like, I enjoy all of that stuff. But as far as playing is concerned, like, I can't tell you the last time I played a note on a trombone. Really, it's just something I kind of stepped away from completely.
And so stepping into the conducting side of things, does that give you kind of a bit of fulfillment around music?
I think so. I think it does a number of things for me. I started at the beginning of this year, so a few months ago now, starting in January. I think it's fair to say I wasn't 100% sure what it was going to do for me, or like if it was a good idea. Like, I was obviously got stuck in and gave it a go, but I wasn't 100% sure it was definitely what I wanted to be doing. But I found it does a few things for me. Like, I really enjoy that feeling of the band sounded pretty good when I took over, and now they sound better. So hopefully that's at least a little bit down to me, which is really cool. Like, that's a really good feeling. But I think the main thing it does for me personally is that running a business is so, like, I don't need to tell you this, but it's so all-consuming. Like, it takes over your entire life. You're thinking about work all the time, 24/7. Like, you dream about it, about whether you filled out the tax form properly, whatever it happens to be. But like, it's so all-consuming. And then we've got 2 young kids, so make sure we carve out time for them. And so between those two things, like, that's the whole day gone. I try and sneak in a few hours sleep every night, but apart from that, like, that's, and so like those two, like, we rehearse for 2 hours every week, and it's on a Friday night, which I love, because it's like those 2 hours are the only 2 hours that I don't think about work or the kids. It consumes you. Like, you're lost. You can't be thinking about that whilst you're trying to do this job for 2 hours. And the fact that it's on a Friday night puts a really nice, like, full stop at the end of the week, because generally speaking, I finish the rehearsal at 10 o'clock at night, generally speaking, the phone doesn't ring after that point. It has happened before where like you're in this great mental space, and then I had a client call me up at 10:15 on a Friday night, and I was not very happy to hear from them at that time. But generally speaking, like it does some great things for my mental health, I think, because it's just that full stop at the end of the week where you've got those 2 hours where you're forced to not think about work for those 2 hours. You're completely dragged out of it. Phone goes off and stuff, and you're just lost in that little world. And then it's late enough in the evening that your phone's not going to be ringing again, touch wood, afterwards. And then you can go home, chill out for an hour and go to bed or whatever. And it does some really good stuff for like my mental health, I think, just having that in my life.
I have a friend who, similar to you, he played the trumpet, and he was very good, music teacher as well. And he said the thing about music is that you're not thinking too far ahead. You're not thinking about the past. You just focus on the now. And that the music and the vibrations is quite therapeutic. And he said it sends in. It's a bit like meditating for him.
100%. Yeah, definitely. No, there's something really healthy about it. Because if I set aside that 2 hours to just sit down and do nothing, then your mind goes to work. Or goes to whatever. It's like if you sit down and watch crap TV or whatever, it doesn't take me away properly. Like I still I'll be zoning out in front of the TV, and suddenly the old thing's like, I forgot to call that guy today, or like, I'm meant to send that email, and I'll just jump on the laptop and sort this out quickly. Whereas like being forced to just get away from that stuff, like even if I was to think about an email I should have sent, then I can't open my laptop in that moment because I'm busy doing other stuff. And I think, there's something really kind of healthy about that.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I could go on. I could do the whole thing about music. I love it. I played in a band for a bit, and I got a lot of joy from it, a lot of fulfillment. And there's nothing better than having people enjoy what you're doing. Yeah,
it's a really good feeling.
And I was always surprised by it because I've always watched bands and stuff, and then there's people dancing or whatever, and you're like, we're doing this, we're having an effect.
Well, I had a friend of mine I worked with a lot as a trumpet player, and he chatted to me once, and he was like, we're just like blowing a bit of pipe for a living, and like that was a happy thing. We enjoyed it, but he's like, you need to remember that like when you're playing on a Friday night, and everyone's having a few drinks and having a good time, the people in that crowd, they are nurses who've been saving people's lives that week. There are firefighters. I mean, I don't know, it could be anyone, but like these are people like doing really important stuff. Not all of them, but some of them.
Could be doing SEO or something like that.
Probably just hosting a podcast or something, but these people doing really important stuff, and it's really important that they like wind down at the end of a week or like have a few beers and like and then they can kind of get themselves in the right place to go back to work in a few days and go back to saving people's lives. So you did like you're not making a difference in the same way that they do, but you're doing a little bit, and like there's something to that stuff, I think, maybe.
But definitely. So what are the challenges of running a cleaning business these days?
Guys, loads.
I know there's things around like staffing and reliable staff.
There's some stuff around that, the staffing's not easy in our industry at all. That's something like that's definitely something that takes up a lot of my time. I think the thing that I find kind of the most frustrating challenge is that I was obviously saying earlier about how we've spent a lot of time and effort on getting our carpet cleaning and our oven cleaning to a really high standard. We've got all the gear, we've done all the training and stuff. And so we have obviously advertised the fact that we do oven cleaning. But there'll be another cleaning company down the way who are maybe not just a couple of people who just go out and do like nothing against that. They've got their cloths and their sprays or whatever, and they go out and do a little bit, and that's fine. Like that's not what we are, but like that's fine. There's a place for that. And they'll say they do oven cleaning, and what they mean is that on the way to your house, they'll stop off at B&M and get a bag of oven pride and throw it in there and hope for the best. And to differentiate that and just say, like, that's a very different thing to what we do. It's like say we spend all of this money, we've got like all the gear and stuff, and like we've done all the training, we do it really properly. But to get that across from like a marketing and messaging point of view, it's a real challenge to show that we're different to those people down the road who have a bottle of oven pride.
Going into what you were saying, it's different hats being a business owner. Small businesses, you've got your marketing hat, you've got your business owner hat, you've got the actual doing hat, you've got the parent as well. And you're like fitting it in around family, and especially a family business.
Yeah, and I think like at the moment, obviously, I'm on the tools a lot, doing the oven cleaning, carpet cleaning myself. Like longer term, I'll stop doing that.
Yeah.
But it feels like I've got 2 full-time jobs at the moment because you're out there doing all of that, but you're also trying to run a business at the same time. And it's like, so you kind of, during the days, you're doing all of the cleaning, and then you work to whatever time at night trying to do all the business stuff. And like, that's just, like, we're still a relatively young business.
Yeah.
So and because it's a family-run business, like that's a great thing. Like I love running the business with my wife, but it does give like a load of financial pressures. You need to earn a certain amount of money because it's the primary source of income for the family. And obviously young kids aren't cheap to keep. So so that it's an added pressure. And so I think like it forces you to make sure you're out on the tools yourself, and which is great. Like you learn the trades and stuff. And like I say, we're new to the industry with this business, so like there's a lot of value in that type of thing. But yeah, it takes over your whole life. But in a good way. Like I like it. I don't regret it. Like I'm pleased we do it, but it is it does take things over a bit.
Well, I've seen like pictures of ovens and everything, the work that you've done. So it's clearly a like proper high standard of work that people appreciate, and it's not something you probably do every month of the year, but you want it doing properly, don't you?
Yeah,
and
100%. You get a lot of people who just like get it booked in annually or whatever, or some people do it every 6 months, whatever it happens to be, but it keeps on top of that, because just like we were saying with the carpets, like you spend a lot of money on an oven. You want to get a decent oven, it's not cheap. I mean, you can pick up a cheap oven, but like you want a decent one, like you're spending a good chunk of money and you want to look after it and
keep it going for as long as possible.
That's the thing. Well, I had to. So I went in someone's house, she's a client of ours for quite a while, and she heard about this new oven cleaning service we're offering, and she got us booked in to clean the oven. And we took the backplate off the oven, and this is a nice oven, like she's like really nice house, like the type of person who she likes nice stuff, so done well for herself in life or whatever. And take the backplate off the oven, and there's just like rust falling down the back of it, like it's in a mess. And it's like you have to and the reason is that type of stuff happens is because she's used a product like Mr. Muscle or something, like a caustic product. And it's really important with that stuff that you wipe it all out afterwards, because otherwise it just sits there eating away at the metal. And what she's done is she's tried really hard to wipe everything out, but it's like dripped behind the back of the oven in the bit that you don't get to as a regular person cleaning your own oven. And so the oven looked amazing when she was finished, but what she didn't know is that this stuff's like behind the back plate, it's just eating away at her oven. So when I come along and take the back plate off, because that's part of our cleaning service, that you take it all apart, and like you literally, you take lovely looking oven, take the back plate off, and it just like crumbles behind, and it's like it's poor. Like the oven will last a little while longer, but it's hundreds and hundreds of pounds that she's are there, and it's because she was just like, innocently enough, like no way she should have known any better particularly, but she was using this product and not using it in necessarily the right way, because the information on the packaging is not brilliant, and now she's knackered her oven, and it's like, so there is kind of a value in having an oven kind of professionally cleaned and properly cleaned.
Especially if you're a commercial business that uses them all the time.
Exactly.
So you mentioned the types of businesses you work for. What would you say are the kind of the sweet spot for you guys in terms of what really works for your business and that you all enjoy doing?
So we've got a pub that we look after in Northwich that we really enjoy working with. And similar with the kind of cafes and restaurants and things, because what they really need, because it's such a hectic thing running an establishment like that. Like if you run a pub, like in the same way as any other business, but it's like it takes over your life, and obviously you're working till a lot of late nights because it's a pub. And so what they really need is to just forget about the cleaning and just know it's going to be sorted every day. Like they don't need to be stressing about the cleaning company. They don't need to be worrying about it. It's like, oh, will they show up today? Or will they have done the job properly? And so we often take on these clients where they've had bad experiences with the last kind of 2 or 3 cleaning companies they've had, and they just want to forget about it. Like they don't want to spend their time. The whole reason they're paying for a cleaning company is they don't want to spend their time worrying about the cleaning. They want someone else to worry about it instead. And so we all really enjoy those types of clients because of the consistency of the work. It keeps the diary nice and filled. The staff love it as well because they know what they're doing. It's like every single day is the same stuff, whatever it happens to be in their schedule. And they appreciate what we do because because they forget about us, and like that's great. Like we don't like everyone's happy in that stage, and like it's okay. You end up building these really nice kind of longer term relationships and things where once they've had that bad experience with 2 or 3 cleaning companies before, because they all have them. Like there's a lot of dodgy cleaning companies out there, so they've all got the war stories of dodgy cleaning companies, and so then they'll be a client for life because they don't want to mess around with moving to another company and trying their hand again, see if they find a good one or not. And they end up really happy with what we're doing because they suddenly go a few weeks and then they think about it, it's like, well, I haven't even thought about the cleaning for a while now. And like that's what we want. Like that's what we want to bring to them is like just take that one thing off their plate.
Yeah.
It's really important if you work in a space like that. Like you show up to a pub and it looks really grubby and dirty, like that's a problem. Like you're not going to go to that pub again. You might just walk straight out, and like that's So it's a really important thing that they don't want to think about. We can just take that off their plate, and then kind of it's a really happy situation where everyone's winning at that point.
I know from I'm part of a sports club, and they have a cleaner that is quite unreliable. And the bar manager, she ends up doing the hoovering and wiping the tables in the bar, and like it takes an hour up of her day. She shouldn't be doing it, and she could be doing other stuff that would be more valuable. And
and you just pay that member of staff for an extra hour to do all that stuff. You've now got a grumpy member of staff because it's not their job and they don't want to be doing it. And they probably haven't done it to the same standard as a cleaner because they're not a cleaner, which is fair enough. And so it's not great at all when it happens, and you need that. It's just that one thing that we can just say, forget about it. We've got it. Don't worry about it. Explain to us what you need doing. Explain to us what you need cleaning. Explain to us what bothers you when it's been missed out, so we can be aware of those things and make sure we don't miss them out. And obviously we try and do everything perfectly every time, but we are humans, and so make sure we understand where your priorities are, and then forget about it. Get on with running your business. And there's a real value in that. And we've got really good feedback from our clients because we've led them to a place where they can just forget about the cleaners. It's a happy thing. So
is there any this sounds like a ridiculous question, but we're talking about technology developments in your industry, AI and things like that. Are you sticking down a little robotic hoover? But on a more serious note, where do you see the future of professional cleaning?
So I'm a bit of a tech nerd. And so obviously I was working in crypto before, and the AI space there's a lot of links there, and so very heavily, like day one when ChatGPT was released, I remember that day really clearly because I just lost myself in that world that day, and so we're really I'm really kind of into that type of stuff, and it's a big part. We do use it a lot in our business for various things where we can kind of reduce the number of hours we're spending on certain things, using tech,
automate everything,
and it's really helped us. And I think because I've spent a lot of time using this stuff, it means I can use it to a reasonable standard and things. So it's not just some people will go on and say, write me a Facebook post for a cleaning company, and they'll come out with generic nonsense and be a mess, and it'll be clearly seen that it's written by AI. And I like to think that we're using it to a higher standard than that, and we are it's really kind of inbuilt in our business. We use it for a lot of stuff, and I really like that, and we'll continue to do that and find other ways of using it. Then it also works in kind of the technology of how carpets are built is changing really dramatically and really quickly. And if you look at a carpet now compared to a carpet 20 years ago, they're really different things, and that affects how you clean them and things like that. So when you talk about developments in technology, people's mind always go to computers and AI and things like that, but actually it's in physical stuff as well. The carpets are made of different things and are constructed in different ways now, and they need to be cleaned differently and respond differently to cleaning. Same thing with ovens, they're changing the way they're made and the way they're constructed and things, and all this stuff matters. So it's it works on that type of question works on a lot of different levels from what we're doing. And we're always so we pride ourselves on being as eco-friendly as possible in an industry where it's really hard to be eco-friendly. It's a difficult thing to do. And again, product development, there are new products coming out all the time and stuff. So we try and stay on top of that as much as possible. We're always trying out new stuff and playing around with different things available on the market. I guess developments in technology like happens in lots of different ways beyond the obvious of now there's AI and that's pretty cool and it's great, very cool, and we use it a lot, but yeah, there's a lot going on, and we do try and stay on top of this type of stuff.
I'm sure regulations on chemicals that can be used have changed as well. And
100%, yeah. There's a minefield. So yeah, there's loads of different stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as like I say, as far as AI and like that side of things, it's something that's like really heavily embedded into our business.
Yeah.
We've got a really fancy app that we've spent a horrific amount of money on, which manages all of our staff and stuff. And like that's been really good for us.
Yeah.
When we first started off, obviously, often start businesses like this on a bit of a shoestring or whatever. You've got stuff you want to spend your money on. So like we're managing our staff. Well, there was spreadsheets and there was WhatsApp groups. You're trying to get a business on, and like it worked well at the time. It was great for where we were back then. And the fact that WhatsApp is free is like obviously an incredibly useful thing. So we had like, I don't know how many WhatsApp groups we had back then when we were first getting the business off the ground. It was a mess organisationally, and like communication, like I say, it was the best we could do at the time. Like it was fine, we managed to make it work. But to get to the point where it's like, now all of our staff got a little app on their phone. So at the beginning of the day, they open up their app, it shows them where they're going, shows them what they're doing. They get to a job, they log in on the app, and then it pops up with a list of jobs, and it'll give them a little message like, this client's particularly interested in this, or like, we had a complaint recently when this was missed out, don't miss it out. They like whatever the message is, and it's like a list of like, in this venue we don't do that, but we do this, or like here's where the stuff's stored. So it means, because we touched on the staffing issue briefly recently, like it is an industry, like we've got some staff who stick with us over a period of time and things, like we do okay on staff retention, but it is an industry where you are going to get staff turnover. And so you need to be able to send a new have the process in place where you send a new member of staff into a venue or whatever it is, or to a different client, and they know what they're doing. It's not like one of the sets of offices that we clean, she was explaining to me that with their last company, they kept on sending different members of staff each week. And every time they got a different member of staff, she had to take time out of her day to show them round, tell them what she wanted to do. And she was doing it every single week when this cleaner showed up. I was like, that's a mess, isn't it? And so our whole idea is we try and keep the same cleaner every time, but also accepting that it's a challenge and we can't guarantee it. But what we can like really put in place is the systems to make sure that service is the same every time, because that's what they really care about. It's is the place clean? It's like it doesn't like, it's nice if it's the same friendly face every time, and it's nice you build up a bit of a relationship with the cleaner, and we do have that, and that's great. But really the most important thing, like I was saying about that pub earlier, is like she doesn't care who cleans the pub every day. She could not care less, and a lot of the time our cleaners are in really early before she's in, so she doesn't even know who cleaned the pub that day, so it's not a problem. But what she wants to do is walk into a pub when she's ready to start her day, look at a really nice clean space and be really pleased with it. And so it's about, we've tried to put those systems in place, and using like apps and stuff like that's really helped us with that type of thing.
Keeps the consistency of service, doesn't it?
100%. That's what it's all about. So it looks the same. Doesn't matter how many people are drinking the night before or thrown up in a toilet, whatever happens. We don't get loads of that, but like it does happen in a pub. But like she starts the day with a fresh pub, and like is ready to go, and it looks good. And it's that consistency of knowing it every day. She can't tell by looking at the pub what happened there the night before. that's pretty important.
Well, that's it, and then the quality of clean as well. So like people that go in regularly, it smells nice, it's clean. Staff are happy because they're working in a nice environment.
Absolutely.
And all
that. Definitely. So it's interesting. Like we've kind of found our space in these types of commercial environments, and really found kind of value we can bring to these clients. Because when you first we're new to the business, like we're new to the industry with this company, like I was saying, and when you first start off, like there's so many roads you can go down as a cleaning company. Like you can do, you can go down kind of regular cleans to people's houses, like the domestic type of thing. You can do a lot of one-off cleans, end of tenancies, all of these types of things. You can go down a specialist route with the carpets and the ovens and all these types of things. You can go all down a commercial. Like, there's endless options, and so like finding our space, like it's taken us a lot of time to find our space. We've explored a lot of these options. But we're kind of finding somewhere where, as a company, we kind of sit quite nicely and like plays to our strengths, and it's areas where we can offer a lot of value. It's definitely kind of it's been an interesting journey over it's this is 2.5 years old now. It's been an interesting journey over that time to really kind of find our space within the industry and work out what we're good at and what we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. That's a short time of being in a business or running a business where all the processes and things are set out and organised.
Yeah. See, it's funny you say that because it is a short time for business. It feels like a long time. The number of hours you put in and stuff. And like I say, I love what I do. I wouldn't change it. But it feels like I've been running this business for about 20 years or something like that. It's been 2.5 years. And we do need to kind of regularly remind ourselves of that, because you get so lost in this world of running, whatever industry you're in. If you run a business, you get lost in the world of it, don't you? And just that little reminder where it's hey, we've only been doing this for 2.5 years, and we're still relatively young, and we weren't experienced cleaners before this. We're new to the industry, and the business is young, and we're still finding our space a bit, and there's still kind of room and time for us to do that, and then we'll find our space, and then the business can run for another few 100 years after that. Not with me running it.
Amazing. Would you have any advice for people that are thinking of starting their own business?
Yeah. Well, it's weird. I guess it's weird in a way because I'm still relatively new to running businesses. It's my second one, and on your podcast, you speak to people who've been running businesses for 30, 40 years. So I'm not necessarily in a position to offer loads of advice to people.
But you're quite fresh in your mind about starting and taking, surviving 2.5 years is.
I think so. Yeah, it's something I'm proud of, even though in the grand scheme of businesses, it's still young. It's something I'm proud of, and I think the thing that I always try, there's two things that I always kind of work really hard on that I feel have really helped me. The first thing is there's loads of stuff that happens when you're running a business, and I work really hard on trying to identify which things I've got control over and which things I don't have control over. And there's always going to be stuff you can't control, and if you spend all of your time worrying about the stuff you can't control, then you're going to drive yourself crazy, and you're not going to be able to run a business long term. I really try and focus on is right, that's happened, I can control that, that's a thing. You can control how you deal with it and stuff, but I'm not going to stress about the fact that it happens because it wasn't my fault. I didn't sometimes stuff just happens. And there's other stuff where it's well, that happened, and actually, if I try and look at it objectively, here are the things I messed up to get to that point, and I could have controlled that, so let's make sure it doesn't happen. So trying to create that dividing line in my head of this is the stuff I can control, this is the stuff I can't control, and making sure you focus your energies in the right space. Then the other thing, that's completely gone out of my head. But it was great. Oh, bugger, what was I going to say?
Put on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, first one's that you mentioned is really important, isn't it? Because you can get stressed over things that you can't control.
Yeah, and it's such an all-consuming thing running a business. Like we were saying before, it does take up your whole life. It really takes over. It's not a 9-to-5 thing running a business. And so you need to kind of, as a human being with 24 hours in a day and a need to sleep and eat sometimes, you can't fully focus on absolutely every element of your business. It's just not physically possible. There's not enough time in a day and not enough brain space and things. So you need to be really disciplined with how you do that. How you think about that. The other point was great. There was another really good one. I've got no idea what it was.
I mean, I can imagine it'd be something make sure you're resilient and communicate well to clients or processes and procedures.
It's just going to really bug me. I'm going to think of it as soon as I start driving away.
We'll put it on the description of the episode. Well, learn a bit more about you and your background and the things you've done, because travelling around the world is something amazing, and to do that while actually being a professional musician and things like that, it's fascinating. So thanks for coming in and your time, and
thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun. This is not the type of thing you get to do every day on a daily basis, at least I don't. So it's fun to do something different, and it's been a really enjoyable conversation, so thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks.